Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. I get it. The door's open. Oh my God. And then hard on the brakes. Ow. 3 seconds, 0 to 60. I beat TFL by 1/10 of a second. That would just be me at every single stoplight. But if I search Apple, what actually comes up? Google Chrome. That's funny.
This video is brought to you by Iona, North America's premier charging network. With unmatched commitment to elevating the customer experience, Iona is opening America's roads to all EVs, giving drivers the coverage they need, the reliability they deserve, and the amenities they crave.
Hello viewers, I think Cadillac just finally built the perfect electric Cadillac, and at the same time, fixed everything we had wrong with the Lyriq. Yes, this shows you state of charge. Yes, this doesn't have a start or stop button because it's no longer 2015. Yes, this has Dolby Atmos. And yes, this still has CarPlay and Android Auto, if you're into that kind of thing, which a lot of people seem to be. There's a lot of angry people when GM deleted that from what seems like most of their fleet. But yes, GM has been cooking. There has been so many EVs coming out from the likes of Cadillac and Chevrolet. And recently we saw the Blazer EV SS, the spicy red pepper colored meatball from Chevy, but we had some issues with it. It was just too cheap feeling for being $65,000. Now, if $65,000 is your budget, might I suggest the Optic V, which TFL is filming over there. I have a video on that as well. That's $69,000, nice. But if you can nudge your budget a little higher, this Lyriq V is freaking awesome. You see, when companies get into racing, everyone wins because of the trickle-down engineering effect. And with Cadillac getting into Formula One, this V badge, I think, has become more important than ever. The fact that Cadillac continues to make performance vehicles is more important than ever. There's been headlines over the years of Mercedes technology contrived through F1 trickling down into their performance people cars. And we're probably, hopefully, gonna see more and more of that with Cadillac. I mean, what other company has 2 rear-wheel drive manual sedans in production? Maybe BMW? Actually, I'm not sure about BMW, but Cadillac does. CT4 and CT5 Blackwings are sick, and they are V variants. So, the Lyriq V continues that V-ness, and I'm frankly excited to check this thing out. And like I said, the Lyriq V and the Optic V are both coming very soon. In fact, actually, some of them are already in people's hands, which is why it's really funny that I can film this right now. It's kind of ironic that I'm filming this and I can't actually publish any content on it until a week from now because of the embargo. Meanwhile, people can go to a Cadillac dealer and buy one. In fact, people have owned the Lyriq V for like a month now. But let's look at this design really quick. I mean, this is the Lyriq we all know and love. Lyriq came out in like 2021-ish, I think. It was pretty cool. It was awesome. I mean, we had some issues with early Lyriqs. We weren't a fan of some of the build quality and tidbits, and actually that's kind of the same with a lot of modern Cadillacs. They're mostly cool and mostly luxurious, but some pieces still feel just too GME. But with any V car comes distinctive style elements, which I'll get into now. You have your typical giant grille on the front of the face, not quite Vistic size, but like really freaking huge. And actually the lighting signature kind of forms a V. So it is a lit up grille. You can't really see that right now because it's so bright out here, but V styling there. Carbon fiber down here on the front splitter. Really looks kind of cool, especially split down the middle there. That's awesome. We saw the same thing on the Optic V, of course. Then on the sides here, we have little bits of carbon fiber on the side skirts, unlike the Optic V that doesn't have that. There's also body color down here below this black tidbit, which is pretty sweet. That makes the Lyriq, it's kind of hard to tell in this dark green color, which I picked because it's such a beautiful green, nice and shiny and metallic. But that does make it a little hard to see which bits are black versus green. But having body color down there gives it more like burly road presence rather than having that blacked out, which would make it a bit more sleek and slim and less intimidating looking. You also have 22-inch wheels, a new specific wheel design for the V, and you have a V logo right there, one on each wheel. Yeah, just one on that spoke. Behind the wheels, of course, 6-pot, 6-piston Brembo brakes only on the front. a new 390 millimeter rotor, and you can get these either specially coated or not coated. So that will adjust, how much brake dust and stuff you have. Notably, these wheels come in what I would say the color is brake dust gray, which is maybe intentional. It hides the brake dust that you may kick up if you really aggressively drive your Cadillac Lyriq V. Black roof, that I think is a V thing. Not sure on all of the colors, so I can't really open the configurator yet as of recording this, but black mirror, black roof, I'm guessing that's gonna be across the line. No matter what color you get down below, this bit will be black. Two-tone, I guess, means sporty. There's a square setup, 275, 40 are 22 wheels. So 22s versus the Optic over there has the 21-inch wheels, if you want to just see side by side. It's really convenient that TFL is filming that over there right now, because I can just keep looking at it. Around back, oh, interesting. So instead of the whole diffuser being carbon fiber, it's just this lip part up here, which I don't know which one I like more. And then no carbon fiber spoiler right here like we see on the Optic, which is also interesting. So different parts of carbon. You can kind of decide what you like more. Love the lighting signature. I've always loved it. This is a car I give a double or triple take to when I see one on the road. Center brake light here, very F1 style. Love that. Shark fin antenna at the top, also black just like the roof. And yeah, that's really the design. Not crazy different. You just have three, I think, V logos, one on the back, one on each side, and then I don't think there's any on the front. Nope, no V logos on the front, so it's not like the BMW M stripes you might see on the classic grills. Still, I love the upright, very Cadillac lighting signature there with the stacked lights here, some of them being cornering, some of them being straight and high beams. Yeah, really, I think Cadillac design language looks good. I think it ages pretty well. I'm quite a big fan of this. You also get Continental Premium Contact 6. So Continental high performance summer tires. Jason Finsky would appreciate that. He's a Continental sponsor guy. But yeah, summer tires as standard. You can option all seasons if you're lame. I mean, if you like how all season tires wear, they will last longer most likely. But I can tell you these summer tires do grip pretty nicely, which we'll notice in the driving section. Pause. What do you think of the design? You see, notably, we've had some recent thoughts on the Rivian quad motor, for example, not being different enough from the base model or the tri-motor to signify performance. I think, in my opinion, this feels like enough. If they had gone even further, it would have felt overstyled. It would have felt, like when the Toyota CHR came out, or the 2 generations ago, like 2016 Honda Civic Type R, where it felt like they just never finished styling it. They just kept styling it to death, put on 18 spoilers and just went crazy. This feels nuanced and good. Before we jump inside though, let me show you an interesting difference. This is a 2026 Cadillac. That is a 2026 Cadillac. The Optic V is the first Cadillac to launch with NACS. This one does not. This has the normal charge port, which, fun fact, this car gets to 60 miles an hour faster than its charge port opens. This launches with CCS again, and it just, yeah, they keep launching with CCS for some reason. It's a weird NACS rollout strategy. I don't actually know if that's that big of a deal. I feel like not many people care about that. You can have adapters. You have Tesla Supercharger access with an adapter. So it just kind of depends. Everyone's going to be a bit more unique and personal based on what type of charging situation they have. Some people already have J7072 chargers in their garage. They don't want to deal with an adapter. Some people are very used to CCS charging. Some people are fine with it. I don't know. I don't know if that matters that much, but it does feel a bit strange, their rollout strategy of unanimously all Cadillacs in 2026 get Dolby Atmos, but not all of them get NACS. In fact, only one of them get NACS. So jumping inside, there's not much to look at in here. It does have V badging right here, V badging on the carpets, unique performance seats, which are not optioned in this. Interesting. We'll see if we can find one with performance seats. V badge on the steering wheel, V logo right there, GM ding dongs galore. And a 1923 something 23 speaker, I think, AKG sound system, which should be phenomenal. It has been in the optic. And finally, like I mentioned, Dolby Atmos, which I'm a huge advocate and fan of. I do have some beef with Cadillac though, because there's no way for me to run my Apple Music, which supports Dolby Atmos by the way, on their system. I don't know who's blocking who. I kind of want to guess it's Google's fault, because this does use a Google-based infotainment system, Android Automotive, not Android Auto. And that, I guess, doesn't have Apple Music on its App Store. It's kind of annoying, because if I'm an Apple Music user, well, in this car I can use CarPlay, but then I can't use Dolby Atmos. None of the other new IQ models, Vistic, Optic, none of those let you even use CarPlay. So as an Apple user for those cars, I'm limited to Bluetooth, which is terrible and a crime. If I was to use this car, I would have to sign up for Amazon Music or Tidal. I believe those are the two ways to get Dolby Atmos at the moment. I guess I would, because it is a really good sound system and a really good implementation of Dolby Atmos. Far better than what Rivian's been doing, although Rivian is kind of improving with software updates. Another piece of beef we've had before with the Lyriq, like I said, is they didn't use to show state of charge. You had to ask Google Assistant to tell you your state of charge, or get out of the car, at which point it would tell you state of charge. Fortunately here it does kind of. So over here is where you can pick what your menus are on the screen. So I can go over here and say layout. Let's go to, let's see, gauge. Oh, that's sport or tour. Link to drive mode. Okay. Sport mode does not show state of charge. Tour mode does show state of charge. Let's go back. Map mode does not show state of charge. Energy mode does show state of charge. Assist mode does not show state of charge. Clean mode does not show state of charge. So we're what? 2 for 5? Something like that. So not every menu shows state of charge for some silly reason, but you can have it. I feel like most people just leave it on this or something, so not really a big deal. Totally fine, but I wish they just showed it everywhere, or at least had the option, or just be like Rivian and always show both state of charge and miles if you can. That would be nice. Otherwise, infotainment is great. I've recently been living with the Escalade IQ for a bit, which had the 55-inch screen all the way across the dash. Didn't actually like that, because it meant the center screen, which you're using the most, is so far away from you, because the curvature of the screen puts it the furthest point away. Well, other than the passenger display, which doesn't matter. But this one, being more driver focused, really like this screen. It is 9K resolution, I believe, maybe 6K, 33 inches. I don't believe it's OLED. As far as I can tell, it's not quite deep dark blacks, and it doesn't quite get bright enough. That's always been a beef I had with it, and I've played with all the brightness settings. It doesn't quite get as bright as I think it should be, but it's passable, totally fine. You have your Google Maps, your audio stuff, which yes, now shows you sound Dolby Atmos, immersive audio. So sick. I'm such a fan of Dolby Atmos, in case you can't tell. In fact, I'm hoping to get someone from Cadillac on as like a guest to talk about the implementation of said Dolby Atmos, because yeah, it's awesome. Physical climate controls, huge fan of that actually, after using the Escalade, which has that like ugly climate screen right here that's always fingerprinted to death. I much prefer these. Fantastic implementation. Scroll wheel for volume. It's a pretty nice scroll wheel, but everything around here is piano black. Do not like that. Oh, God. Colton, are you hearing this? So we'll have to have Colton do a build quality analysis, but it's got the Cadillac problem, which is squeaky, really cheap feeling plastics. Like, the car looks good, photographs fantastically, that's clearly their intention, but there are just a little bit of a miss of certain materials. You have USB-C port there, USB-C port up there. Really cool design down here, like very minimalist and simple, but I'm a huge fan of that. The Cadillac logo right here, love that. I love the little details they give you. I like the vent controls being like this. Not digital vent controls like you'd find in Tesla or Rivian, but I really like how these are controlled, very easy to handle and manage. With the steering wheel, you do have some piano black. Like I said, they're very busy steering wheels, a lot of buttons and controls and such. You can get used to it, but Yeah, not my favorite implementation. On the doors here, you have your heated, cooled, ventilated seats, which you cannot do at the same time. I really wish they would add that. You have your button here to quick jump to the massage setting, which is nice. I will go ahead and, wait. I have to use the controller on the door? Oh my gosh. Okay, let's try, wait, massage, click. Okay. I don't know how to show you what I'm trying to do, but I'm trying to go up to massage, click in, roll, click in, nope. Okay, roll. Oh no. Medium, high, there we go. Okay, now massage is going. That's far too complicated. Just let me just choose on here. There's a little thing on the bottom of the steering wheel. It looks like a button, but it's not. I don't know what that really does or is, but it's there. So there's that. Yeah, otherwise, digital rearview mirror. And then you have your panoramic glass roof, which has a shade, which you can close, which is awesome. Very lovely to have that. And I kind of like my driving position. You do feel kind of low, like not crazy low, but like a little bit low. And I can go, whoa, even lower. So I do feel like I can get low enough. Some other people, Kyle, a few others, don't feel like they can ever get low enough. So I'm curious if they could in this car. They are technically different seats than the non-V. The V seats actually have more bolstering and adjustable bolstering to really hold you in place when you are autocrossing through Starbucks parking lots, which we will sort of see later. Oh, I almost didn't see it. Another hidden USB-C port right there and a wireless phone charger that is not ventilated. That's a big miss in my opinion. Even the Escalade has ventilated phone chargers. This one doesn't. So basically that's an oven right there, but it will technically charge your phone and it will keep it steady when you're autocrossing in Starbucks parking lots. Nice wood here, not as nice as Rivian's wood. Like it's not really perforated, but it does have some translucency so that ambient lighting can shine through it, which is really freaking cool. Maybe we'll see if we can get a clip of that at night, but I don't really know what the program limitations are. So that's awesome. Glove box is right here, and that opens that, but you also have this hidden storage compartment right here. I'm not really sure what you, like Lyriq owners, what do you use this for? I like it. I like little hidden storage things, but it's just kind of funny that that's there. I'm not really sure what it's for. I don't think there's too much else to look for in the software other than, let's swipe over here. There's Amazon, Spotify, no Apple Music, of course. Like I said, we can go to the Google Play Store and just wishfully search for Apple Music, but if I search Apple, what actually comes up? Google Chrome. That's funny. What I can show you though, drive modes, this has V mode. And then when you go to V mode, you can it actually asks if you want to turn on competitive mode. Traction control will be turned off, ESC will be reduced for optimal vehicle performance. So you can always go into competitive mode if you want. But in V mode, you can adjust steering, suspension, brake feel, acceleration feel, lots of fun things to play with. And motor sound, notably, there's a stealth mode now, so you can turn that off completely. Awesome. Turn competition mode off, or if you turn it on, boom. You have traction control off and stability reduced, sensors reduced, all that stuff you can play with, we'll play with later in the video, but that's that. For that. This also has the new improved heads-up display, I believe similar to the Vistic, which is awesome. It's really hard to show on the phone. Like it's actually not showing up at all. Oh, there we go. A little bit there. But it has, I think, augmented reality heads-up display, which should be nice. Although I thought it was a little gimmicky in the Vistic, so we'll see how it goes in the actual driving section. But I'm not getting my hopes up entirely. Okay, let's jump in the back. Egress is easy, ingress is just as easy in a Cadillac. Definitely not quite as comfortable seating, which makes sense, but like noticeably less comfortable. It's just, well, maybe noticeably less bolstering for sure. Like if you have rear passengers during your autocross runs, they will slide all over the place. But seating is fine. The seats are just statically fixed here in a place that does support, I mean, my head, but like barely. If I was any taller, or if I was wearing one of my taller hats, I would hit the ceiling. And it has the same issue I've pointed out with other Cadillacs, including the Optic over there. The glass ends at a very unfortunate place. If they just had the glass end a little bit further back, or somehow reworked the cabin, maybe move the whole cabin up, because why do they have that huge hood if there's no frunk anyways? I'm not bitter. Then this could improve headroom a bit, but it's fine. It's totally fine. A lot of times it's kids back here. Even most adults will fit technically. And it does not feel compact. I mean, I feel like I have quite a bit of space, way too much, like not too much. I love legroom. Lots of legroom sitting behind myself. Very aggressive looking seats, so that's probably more of a V thing. The massage is going. I was like, what is that feeling? A little screen back here to adjust your climate control, but also your heated seats, 3 levels of heating. Wish they were cooled rear seats. That'd be actually ultimate luxury. Household outlet right there, awesome. USB-C ports right there. ISOFIX situations, and a center console thing that is pretty basic, pretty minimal. Yeah, that's about it for that. The headrests do look nice. I like all this, the stitching and the piping, and yeah, everything looks pretty good. It is interesting that you have door locks down here. I guess for each individual door, but maybe it does control the entire car. I'm not entirely sure. But here's where like Colton's issue is with like lower door panels feeling cheap. This feels like Chevy Equinox cheap, but I get it. It's not technically places that are being touched that often, so maybe it's not a big deal. So let's end this walk around bit with looking in the trunk. You just smack that logo, the trunk will open and show you 28 cubic feet of storage space. Quite a bit of storage space. I think it's very usable. A nice little bit of sub trunk right there. There's your divider if you want to put that up. Yeah, totally usable storage. With the seats down, it becomes 60 cubic feet, I believe, so that's nice. And they are power folding. Boom. But they don't raise back up with power. So I will point out the Model Y, which is much cheaper, has power folding and raising rear seats, and they even move the front seats up a bit more. But Model Y doesn't have quite as much rear legroom, so who's winning now? At least it's a power folding trunk, which is nice. And yeah, there you go. Inside, outside, full tour. Let's get to driving it. All right, finally driving this thing. This beautiful, is it Nimbus Blue?
Nimbus Blue, yeah.
Nimbus Blue, all right. And I have a co-host. I've got Natalie here from Auto Week, which is a lot of fun. So it helps to have other people's opinions, because sometimes I get too into the weeds of, oh, this doesn't have Apple Music, bad car. No, there's a lot of other things to consider with this. And one of them being the fact that this has not hands-free, but lane centering on non-pre-mapped roads, which is such a big deal to me. Super Cruise is a pretty good system. Motor Trend gave it best tech of the year. I don't know if it's that good, but it's really quite a good system. But until recently, it's been, well, and for still a lot of cars, it's only hands-free, and it's only on very specific pre-mapped roads. To their credit, the pre-mapping has gotten way bigger.
A lot, yeah.
They're up to like 500,000?
It's pretty impressive how much the mapped roads have expanded over the last couple years.
So a lot of, not just highways anymore, a lot of B roads. But, for example, we're on a twisty B road out here near Seattle, Washington that's not pre-mapped. The map tells you what's pre-mapped, so you're not just guessing. Mm-hmm. But it's doing it. Now, earlier off camera, it kind of just suddenly veered
almost into the mountain.
Almost into the mountain. So it's not like really great, but at least it warned me. And it's warning me now when I have my hand off the steering wheel, or if I'm not giving it enough input. Like, it's a very like, okay, it needs driver feedback pretty consistently to make sure I'm actually working and it's actually doing its job. But cool, that's awesome. Lyriq V, and I guess 2026 Lyriqs in general, I'm guessing, join the Cadillac Vistic in terms of the fleet that can now do hands-on lane centering without pre-mapped roads. Works really well, honestly. Like I said, not perfect, but like really pretty far up there. But really what I wanted to talk about also is just how this car drives in general driving. In a little bit, we'll get to the performance stuff, which this is impressive because it's a V vehicle. But what a lot of people will be doing is daily driving their Lyriq V. I highly doubt anyone's buying this just to do autocross days. So how's it handling the streets, the driving, how's the NVH? happy to report it's all very good. It's all very similar to how Lyriq was. And even just the small nuances of, well, I'm sorry, I say small, there's actually a lot of performance enhancements they've done. They gave us a whole chart of all these things that they improved, to stiffness and rigidity and stuff. I'm glad to say that hasn't really compromised the daily driving. In fact, I think it's improved it just a little bit with one regard, which is the steering ratio. Previous Lyriqs had such a slow steering ratio that when you're doing like a corner, a really tight corner, or even maneuvering parking lot, feels like you're cranking the wheel 18 times. This one having an improved steering ratio, a shorter steering ratio, actually helps in every situation. They did it because of performance, but I think that's a cool side effect that does benefit daily driving. In terms of V things that make daily driving maybe worse, is the fact that this has 22-inch wheels, which I think have been fine for the most part, but we've also been pretty good pavement. I'm actually impressed with Seattle's roads.
Yeah, I am too.
Denver, Detroit, maybe.
No.
Not known for the best roads, which is cool because then we can really test cars with their pothole capabilities. And I feel like these 22-inch wheels, while giving you a bit more feedback of what the steering wheel is doing and where you are on the road, I'd be a bit worried about blowing one on a huge pothole, and you also just feel that much more bump in the road.
But can I just say, I was expecting also these standard Continental summer tires to be louder than we're getting, but it's still pretty quiet. Like, I don't think we're getting too much more.
Totally agree. I wonder if they are, foam insulated like we've seen with a lot of EV tires. I'd be really curious to try a Lyriq V on the all seasons, which of course they don't have any here because they only want to show us the most performance-y. But the fact you can option this with all season tires is cool. Cool that you have a choice.
But it's also the all seasons are the optional tire.
Right, which is really funny.
Yeah, the summer tires are the standard.
Yeah, which is cool. I feel that feels like they understand the theoretical performance audience that's getting this. But yeah, daily driving, we've also been listening to a lot of music, and it's just really interesting that this is the only electric Cadillac with CarPlay. And I typically kind of give CarPlay a rough, I just don't like it that much. I think it's kind of a rough system. It hasn't been updated to keep up with the times, but I like the choice because, again, as an Apple Music user, that's the way I can use Apple Music in this car. And yeah, it works great. But with CarPlay, you don't get Dolby Atmos, which I think is Apple's fault. But then we listen to Dolby Atmos through Amazon Music. Really good sound system. Like, genuinely fantastic. Whether it's Dolby Atmos or stereo, either way, you're going to be really happy. So, as someone who's a sound system enthusiast, I'm thrilled driving this around. It's comfortable. It's quiet. You still have the GM ding when you open the door, and it's still too hard to find that in the settings because whoever drove this car last had it kind of loud. Yeah. Which is ridiculous and silly. And the other thing to mention is the Augmented Reality heads-up display, which is not the best implementation of Augmented Reality.
I think it's intrusive, honestly.
Yeah.
And I love using heads-up displays in general, but I think the way, what do they call it, a double layer heads up or whatever, the additional augmented reality display on here, where it's, because we're following a navigation map right now, and so it's throwing all those prompts up on the screen for you, or on the windscreen. I'm finding them a little distracting at times.
Yeah, totally agree. I think Mercedes and BMW have really figured it out. This is Cadillac's, as far as I know, first attempt at augmented reality, and I'm hoping it improves, but it's decent. But I do think I would probably, if this was my car, I would just turn it off.
I think I would too.
The augmented reality part. I do like the heads-up display having.
Agree, yeah.
It tells me, you guys can't see this on camera, but it tells me my speed, what the speed limit is, the status of my lane centering or cruise control or whatever's happening. Now we can turn on Super Cruise, hopefully. Hands-free driving active, cool. So now we're back on Super Cruise. Which again is great, as long as it's working, and it usually does work pretty well. But yeah, heads-up display, augmented reality, I would almost say slightly gimmicky at this point. But we're doing our automatic lane change. The augmented reality is telling me that it's doing that, but so is the screen, so it feels a little bit redundant in that way. And yeah, it's cool to see this iteration and progression in technology. Glad Cadillac's doing that. Looking forward to driving the other vehicles, but the Lyriq V now officially follows Vistic as having lane centering without pre-mapping and the heads-up display. They're all kind of becoming cohesive in their technology, and I think that's coming to all the Lyriqs. Lyriq came out first. I think it is probably one of their best EVs. I do like the optic because I like a small car. I mean, you have a Bolt, so you probably don't mind the small, more nimble cars, especially in city scenarios. But it's cool to see them have all the way down from optic all the way up to Escalade IQ. If you want an SUV, Cadillac has one. They have 4 sizes, plus Celestiq, which is just silly but cool.
For the 4 people, people who are going to buy it.
Still never seen one in the wild. It'd be awesome too at some point.
I haven't seen one in the wild in Detroit.
Which is crazy. You're in Detroit, which is where they should be.
Have not seen one.
But yeah, otherwise, driving feels like normal Lyriq. There's not much else to report here. The screens are still good. I still sometimes wish they were a little bit brighter in direct sunlight. It's fine when you're on bright screens like the maps, but the darker screens sometimes are harder to see. But I love the physical climate controls. I can just reach down, change something. You don't have that silly screen like you have in the Escalade IQ. Digital rearview mirror, that's hard because you have to shift your eye focus to focus on it. But I do like seeing past any sort of luggage or potential passengers in the back.
I can't.
You're not a fan.
No, I cannot. I think it's just, I think that's a function of being old. You know, it's one of those technologies I have not yet adapted to. But
I'm pleased to say we've been in and out of these cars a bit over the last day and a half. Not having a start-stop button is, I think, nice, and now that makes it more cohesive with the rest of their vehicles and Chevy's vehicles who have all gone away from the start-stop button. How do you feel about that?
I think I'm still adjusting because I just got out of, I'm driving an EX30 right now at home, and not only does it have so here the car turns on as soon as you step on the brake pedal, right? The EX30 doesn't even have that. It senses your fob and sort of automatically, turns on when you get close to the car. That, to me, I don't know. I'm sure all cars are going that direction, but I like the actual being able to step on the brake pedal here to give that indication that you're turning the car on.
Yep, totally agree. You can get in without stepping on the brake if you know you just want to grab something.
Exactly.
You don't have to worry about the car just booting up.
Right.
And then you just get out and it turns off. So I'm glad they've adjusted that and improved that. I do feel like you don't need start-stop buttons as long as it's done well. And then it's cool to see that they finally added state of charge with the asterisk only on 2 of the 5 or 6 driver display options. Right now I'm doing the driver assist because I want to see everything that's happening. Can't see state of charge. I don't understand that. All it shows is miles remaining, which is a guesstimeter. So if I go to map, I can do projection. Oh, that's actually the Apple Maps from
it is.
CarPlay, which is really cool. That's like what BMW
now you have them
does.
side by side there.
But no state of charge. Go back. I can go to clean view, which is just a nice clean. Look at all that real estate. No state of charge. If I go to energy, it'll show state of charge. Or if I go to gauge, it'll show state of charge. So 2 ways to see it. Glad to find another person who agrees that state of charge is what you must show. And then if you want, I guess you can give a guessometer because that helps people kind of gauge. But again, guessometer, not always accurate. I'd just rather see state of charge. But they fixed the weird quirk where early Lyriq owners had to ask Google what the state of charge was.
See, I didn't know that. That's weird.
Crazy. Navigate to where you are to see state of charge on arrival, to see totally silly
that is weird.
Ways around it. We have our G-force gauge here, which is kind of funny. Just all the things they throw in a performance car. But hey, if you like performance things and you like very quick things, this could go to 60 very fast. So I guess that's a good segue into what we should now call 0 to 60 launching, autocrossing, the things you would just do in your Lyriq V apparently. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. I get it. The door's open. All right, well, this is also apparently the quickest Cadillac ever made, at least consumer faced. Obviously, they have some race cars that are probably fast. Anyways, I have it in V mode, or you can do Velocity Max mode. Either way will give you launch control, which Cadillac has kindly set up a course for me specifically to demonstrate this function. And yeah, all you have to do is put it in drive, and then with V mode or Velocity Max enabled, foot hard on the brake, it says floor it, foot down, and launch. Oh my God. And then hard on the brakes. 3 seconds, 0 to 60. I beat TFL by 1/10 of a second. That's official. Out of spec is cooler than TFL. No, I'm just kidding. I love those TFL guys. But holy cow, 3 seconds flat. That was incredible. It's so cool to have a built-in timer to also tell you how fast you did it. And supposedly it's repeatable and repeatable and repeatable, at least down to about 60% state of charge. That's when they begin to derate it, apparently. But for that was pretty freaking awesome. So naturally, I'm gonna do it again. So here we go. Foot hard on the brake and launch. Oh my God. 3.1 seconds. So very close. That would just be me at every single stoplight. That is crazy. Honestly, the way it stands on the brakes is really impressive. Over brake the cars. You hear that, Tesla? Can't believe this Plaid shipped with the brakes it did. Having these 6-piston ones is fantastic on this car. So yeah, it really sprints, really does it. Okay, I'm gonna try it without launch to see if I can feel a difference. Still pulls, but like noticeably not quite as much. They claim launching it really only does 1/10 of a second faster, roughly. But I don't know if that is really true. That felt noticeably slower than that initial jolt of a launch, but maybe that's all it was. Maybe it was just 1/10 of a second, but it says here 3.9 seconds when all I did was floor it instead of doing the stand and then floor it. So that's really actually interesting to me. So repeatedly 3.9 seconds without launch control, 3.1 seconds with launch control. Definitely does feel like a difference, that's for sure. Okay, so it launches, but for consumer testing purposes, does it autocross? So, of course I can autocross. Turning on V mode then asks you if you want to turn on competitive mode, and that's a big difference between this and the non-Lyriq V, the Lyriq non-V, the Lyriq. Let's see how it does, shall we? Sending it. And yes, this is a lot of fun. It's good practice. Believe it or not, this is good consumer testing, because what if you are working your way through a parking lot as fast as possible to try to beat what's clearly a growing line at Starbucks? So you're racing through the line, trying to beat everyone else to the order window, and you make it. You probably would if you were driving one of these, because statistically everyone else is in a Subaru Outback, at least in Colorado. So being a V car means everything was dialed up to 11, or in some cases 500. Like all this chassis stiffness, the anti-sway bars, anti-roll bars, whatever they're called, suspension dynamics, everything has been improved and stiffened and made better for performance driving, because I guess that's what Lyriq V owners will do. And it's actually really engaging to drive. It feels kind of like I'm not gonna quite say BMW dynamics, but it does make it feel a bit more rear wheel drivey, simply because of the way the brake-based torque vectoring actually works. There's a unique adaptive suspension, performance bushing package. There's so many performance enhancements that you can see here on this little clip that I got of a screen grab they showed us. And the new all-wheel drive traction management relaxes and reduces stability control. In fact, with competitive mode, it actually says stability control off. So I guess it's traction control off. That's what we've wanted, right? So notably, there's no actual physical limited slip differential LSD, or there's no ELSD. Everything is brake-based torque vectoring. They say it's because this is also meant to be a daily driver. What that tells me, maybe they're trying to save some costs in manufacturing, which is, hey, valid. There's a reason this isn't a $100,000 car, which Cadillac does make, by the way. Oh, and on corner exit, it's meant to feel like a bit of a rear-wheel drive car, which it sort of does. I could see that. It definitely understeers less than the non-V Lyriqs that I've tested. And quicker steering ratio, sort of. I mean, yes, physically, definitely a quicker steering ratio. And that is something we've requested for a while. You know, the Lyriq non-V doesn't have a fast enough steering ratio. It's been a complaint that Kyle's made, and I mean, I make about a lot of Cadillacs. That was never like the original intention, was it? Like when Cadillacs really hit the market way back, it was like driving a boat. And you know when you're driving a boat, you're moving the steering wheel like 18 million times to go 4 degrees to the right? That's how a Cadillac in my head as a kid was. But now that we have actual sports Cadillacs, CT4, CT5, Blackwing. So they have a physically faster turning ratio in both drive modes of touring and sport, which is welcome. I still think it could be faster, but then again, they're trying to appeal to the Cadillac owner, so I kind of get it. By the way, your phone will stay in the wireless charger even if you do autocross or track days. Pretty cool. It may not constantly charge because it will be thrown around in there, but it won't fly out amongst the cabin and into your passengers' faces like many other cars would where their phone wireless chargers are. However, my main issue with this wireless phone charger is that it's not cooled. Again, the Escalade can do it, so should the V. So, I was very rushed with this trip, so here are my final thoughts now after the fact, which isn't a bad thing. It gives me some time to reflect and think on it. But here's the thing, I actually really like the Lyriq V. My concerns going into it were that the car would just be compromised by its impressive performance. And okay, if all you want is performance, great. Otherwise, I'd probably tell people just go buy another Lyriq. But I was pleased to find out it rode better than I expected, even on normal B roads and city driving. It still has all the tech. It is just kind of expensive, but if you have a, what I would say, beefy Cadillac budget, the Lyriq V really is just a killer car. It offers a lot of improvements over the previous Lyriq, which is what I was really curious to find out, such as no more start-stop button, because frankly, you don't need it. This is programmed really nicely. It now shows state of charge on the screens, although Cadillac, please just put it on all of the screens. It doesn't hurt anything, and it gives most people the actual data they really want to see. The AKG sound system is improved drastically. I haven't actually done enough testing with the outgoing one, but I heard people being like, yeah, it was good. But like, this one is really freaking good. I just hope, like I said, that at some point Apple Music will come to the Android automotive experience so I can have native Dolby Atmos through a much nicer interface. Apple Music is objectively better than Amazon or Tidal in terms of how the interface actually works, so that'd be great. However, like I said, this is the only electric Cadillac that I can tell that has CarPlay, so I can still use Apple Music just in stereo, and it actually still sounds really, really good. So this is probably the only Cadillac I would typically drive because, well, I love my music and I'm an Apple Music user. I'm not going to subscribe to another service just to get music in my car. So as much as I think the Optic V, being smaller, more nimble, more lightweight, more cheap, that appeals to me more, but the Lyriq is just, it's kind of a baller vehicle. It's big, it has really nice looks from all angles. I can't find that many downsides. I have little quirks with the software. I hate the GM ding-dong that happens when you open the driver's door. The plastics and materials are like not quite as nice as I think they should be, especially for 80 grand, but then again, you're spending the 80 grand in this case on what I think is genuine V performance. It rips. It doesn't have to. It didn't have to rip this hard. But the fact that I pulled a 3.0 second 0 to 60, I mean, that's how they measured it, so maybe it was like a hair above that. But even still, blazing fast 0 to 60 blows my mind. Obviously, we'll have to see how Tesla responds with the Model Y performance, which will eventually come out in its new generation. But there's a lot of people that just won't But there's a lot of people that just won't touch Tesla with a 10-foot pole. So I think this was really impressively tuned. The dynamics are awesome. You can autocross it. No one's going to, but you can. More realistically, people will probably launch it at a stoplight. Launch control works great. It's hilariously fun. I had a good time. Oh, and I can't stress how important the lane centering is without having to use Super Cruise. Totally great. Not as good as Tesla's autopilot, and Super Cruise is not as good as Tesla's FSD. The software is not as good as Tesla's software, but all of it still is good. And so for those people who don't want to even consider Tesla or want, yes, I think definitely a more premium vibe experience, this seems to do the trick. You don't need the air suspension. You don't need rear wheel steering like you'd find on the Vistic. This thing handles nice, feels nice, rides nice, looks nice, especially in that Nimbus blue color I was able to drive and see a little bit of. So overall, I'm pretty thrilled. Let me know what you guys think of the Lyriq V, and let me know what you think of Cadillac just doing V everything, because presumably they will. Optic V, Lyriq V, Vistic V, which is just kind of fun to say. And Escalade V, is that even necessary? Absolutely ridiculous. Still hope they do that. Celestiq V probably doesn't work. But hopefully we get our hands on a Celestiq very soon, because that's something I truly can't wait to experience and film and drive. And Cadillac, I could really just use a long-term loan or Celestiq. You know, I think a year would give me about enough time to figure out how I feel about it. They would never. Thanks for watching.